The tracks we're on will stray away, but we'll meet again someday. I'll sing you back to me, oh darling, sing you on home to me. When we lay our heads and finally go to bed, we walk alone in our world. No one else can call their own. I whisper sweetly in your ear, oh dear, at least I got you here. And now, my grandmother and my grandfather were stained glass and sculpture, and they did drawing. They taught at the Kansas City Art Institute. And then my grandfather went to Brazil for 5 years. And, or maybe longer, actually. Maybe about 8 to 10 years. But he was in Brazil doing missionary work. And so my mother always wanted to be a missionary, but she never traveled because she was in an abusive relationship, and she was stuck with 3 children and had worked at a hospital overnight for most of her life. My grandmother, she did this thing as a painter because after her husband died, she just had all this money. So she was like, you know what, I'm just gonna travel across the country and look for this particular shade of blue that she was looking for her paintings. And because I was young and always getting in trouble and could never go to summer camp because I would always get kicked out, my parents were just like, well, why don't you take them? So we traveled all around. We went to Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado. We spent a lot of time in Colorado because my uncle was escaping some trouble in Kansas City and Denver, so he just stayed there and became a mountain man. He taught me photography and taught me how to. The first time I made a picture in a darkroom was in his bathroom, and he made me help him build the darkroom, and he made his own enlargers and his 4x5 cameras and everything. So that really inspired me later on to go to art school.
Because I grew up amongst so many different ethnicities, Ethiopians, Sudanese, Laotians. I went to a Laotian church for most of my life. Actually, still talk in Laotian sometimes with my mother. Only numbers. So we count ducks together in Laotian. But I was into all kinds of different music. I loved the beat mainly. Beat and soul is really just what music is to me. I like anything with beat and soul. That's Motown, African water music, tube and throat singing, Britney Spears. I guess mainly I don't know why folk music really just got a hold of me. I guess I was kind of into Woody Guthrie. My dad turned me into Woody Guthrie a lot, and I really liked that. Like going around and singing songs for the people, for the folks, because that's what folk music is just, for everybody who was just like everybody else.
I wear this guitar like a banner, and my hat like a crown. My voice is traveling faster than the speed of sound. By glory, faster than the speed of sound. Let me take you to some old holler where my daddy was born. He lived in filth and squalor, and apples was all that he sowed. By Lordy, apples was all that he sowed. Well, he watered and he pruned them, and they grew up real tall, but not a blossom graced a single branch. And he died on a fruitless farm. Oh mercy, he died on a fruitless farm. Oh, 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 well, I grew up fast and wild, and I left those trees alone. 10 years passed and they finally blown. Apples sweeter than gold, I'm telling you, apples sweeter than gold. So I sold all my apples and I bought me a boat. Everyone's trying hard to keep swimming. All I wanna do is float, I'm telling you, all I'm trying to do is float. Oh, 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 oh. I ain't going to no schooling, I ain't going to no church. I know I'll live forever. My dad was never around, and when he was around, we were all afraid of him. So my brothers and I would always just run away. My dad was in the hospital for 6 months, and it just turned out that he was like starting to die. So I quit school, broke up with my girlfriend, and I moved up to Lawrence and was just like squatting this house and being sad about myself, but not sad about my dad's death. In fact, I was pretty relieved when he died. Just another less asshole in the world. Wowie! I'm not as bitter as I seem about it. I've dealt with my daddy issues. So that was a really hard time in my life. Didn't have a job, didn't know how to make money because I went to college directly after high school, so I have absolutely no life experience at this point. And then I finally hit rock bottom and was like drinking way too much. I actually, adopted my dad's alcoholism and eventually moved into my brother's attic to try and get better, and ended up getting worse. And then I moved away and to Kansas City, Missouri, and that's where I stayed until I started traveling.